Hello, everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast, as part of a Meteor edition, this audio podcast as part of a Labostix Meteor. This audio podcast as part of this audio podcast as part of a Biome Bullet. This part audio podcast as part of the abstracts, and this audio podcast as part of a Storm Labostix production. In this audio podcast, I look at abstracts and abstract that had been put forward for the International Pediatric Transplant Association or IPTA in 2022, and this abstract looks at transplant immunology, chronic kidney disease, a review. This abstract on this works was collaborative between two or three academic institutions. To begin with, some background. Patients or recipients patients or recipients with chronic kidney disease (CKD) may be compromised owing to restrictions across pathophysiology and immunobiological paradigms. Chronic kidney disease or CKD recipients or patients live with the threat or impairment of functioning, such as lack of energy and impaired cognition. Those in chronic kidney disease or CKD and severity around CKD stages 4 and 5 can have consequences across several dimensions which transcend pathophysiological abnormalities. And the aim in around the aims and objectives. So this works aims to aim works the aims works the work sorry the work aims to, or the abstract leads to abstract sorts to highlight and outline the central mechanisms in around chronic kidney disease CKD in around CKD and the specific mechanistics. Hansen's theoretical propositions and empirical findings provided sort of the underlying principles used in coping and stress research, and are often cited in scientific and clinical bases regarding both the general adaptation syndrome from 1936 and the biopsychosocial model in around 1977. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA, overactivation occurs during times when recipients or patients undergo stressful situations, and this can potentially affect T cells and markers through immunosuppressive effects of the immunosuppressive effects of the glucocorticoids. In around some of the conclusions, linking endocrinology such as cortisol, the adrenocorticotropic hormone or ACTH, and cytokines may prove advantageous in prospective investigations. Further, recipients with chronic kidney disease or CKD who have intense periods of stress and having to utilize resources, this may have specific effects regarding to the immunological components and neuroendocrinology. For example, in CKD, recipients undergoing different forms of renal replacement therapy or RRT, and laboratory investigations are required, however, to investigate how particular immune and neuroendocrine cells are prompted surrounding tolerance in CKD in the CKD or chronic kidney disease population. Some terminologies to identify similar works. Similar works in amongst the literature include physiology, chemokines, endocrinology, immunology, and chronic kidney disease. That draws this audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast as part of a Meteor edition. This audio podcast as part of a Labostix Meteor. This audio podcast as part of a Biome Bullet. This audio podcast as part of the abstracts. And this audio podcast as part of a Storm Labostix production.